This morning, relief is finally in sight for airport workers and travelers. TSA officers are now set to receive a full paycheck for the first time in weeks after President Trump said he'll sign an executive order to pay them while the Homeland Security Department is shut down. An official says the money will come from Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill signed last year.
I wish he had done it weeks ago. These people are suffering. It's awful. It's unfair to the workers.
It was not immediately clear when or how long TSA officers would be paid under the new order. Meanwhile, overnight, progress on Capitol Hill. The Senate early this morning reaching an apparent deal to fund TSA and other Homeland Security agencies, except for ICE. But the plan would still need approval from the House and President. The fight over Homeland Security funding comes as President Trump considers potentially escalating the war in Iran. The Wall Street Journal and Axios report the Pentagon is considering sending up to 10,000 additional ground troops to the Middle East.
I think that if the president decides to commit troops on the ground, he needs to come talk to us in Congress. That's a major step.
New video shows an Iranian missile coming dangerously close to shooting down a U.S. fighter jet over southern Iran. But the president appears hopeful a deal to end the war is possible. He's now...
The main thing we're talking about, we're not going to get into this certain part of it, but the main thing we're talking about is the TSA agents finally getting paid. Let's go over to this next video.
Extended.
It's just into our newsroom right now. Just in the past few minutes, President Trump just announced he's signing an emergency order to pay TSA workers, even without a funding deal in Congress. It comes after another day of long lines at airports, and as Congress was on track to go on recess tomorrow without a deal. Tom Costello is tracking all of this for us. So, Tom, how would this work?
Now, the main thing I would like to say is that they've been skating around the whole issue for a while now. Because the main problem is, at the end of the day, TSA agents should be paid and they deserve to be paid for what they do. And he was sending ICE agents and proposing to send National Guard. It would have helped security, yes, but they can't make the lines go faster. There are some places that take up to 6 hours just to get through the TSA line. But let's keep going into this.
Well, I think that's yet to be determined. We are on day 41 here, as you know, of the TSA working without pay. And not only them, Coast Guard as well. We've had 3- and 4-hour lines at various airports across the country. And tomorrow, the TSA is expected to miss yet another paycheck. 50,000 of these officers going without pay now for more than a month. And we now have call-out rates nationwide of 11%, people not showing up to work so they can find another job. So in the last few minutes, the president went on Truth Social and he said this: I'm going to sign an order instructing the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, to immediately pay our TSA agents in order to address this emergency situation and to quickly stop the Democratic chaos at the airports. To be clear, Democrats have blamed Republicans. Republicans have blamed Democrats. This is an emergency order taking unused funds, apparently, to pay the TSA officers. Tom?
And Tom, I know this is just in, but do we have any idea of how long it could take for them to finally get paid?
Not immediately. I will tell you that over the last few days, the talk had been it could take days or even weeks, keeping in mind that last fall, it took a month for them to receive their back pay, Tom.
We thank you for watching. And
remember, so possibly it could be up to another month of waiting to get more information. Let's hear how the people feeling about it.
Rachel, thank you. We are following breaking news overnight. The Senate has passed a bill that would fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, including TSA. Now, the deal does not include funding for ICE or Border Patrol. That's been the main sticking point in these ongoing negotiations. The House still has to approve it, and the president has to sign it before the partial shutdown will end. TSA workers have gone without pay for weeks now during this shutdown, leading to those long lines at the airport as workers have called out or quit. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley is showing us just how thick things have gotten inside Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Joe, did it decrease a little bit in the last 30 minutes, or how are we looking right now?
it's really more of the same, Aisha. The line is probably the longest it's been all morning here as we pass the 7:30 mark here on Friday. You think about the weekend and how many travelers come through just like this, heading either on spring break or maybe they're even headed home to wherever their destination is. They are, some of them packing their patience, more optimistic than some others who are showing a bit of concern and frustration. And why wouldn't you be, right? If you've been in line for an hour or two, maybe more at this point, and still a long way to go before they get to the first TSA agent they'll meet to screen them in. Passengers here are hoping, though, that this end to a deadlock in Congress can put an end to the gridlock here at the airport. Lines stretching back to baggage claim, though nowhere near as long as yesterday. We did see those lines outside of the building yesterday and some within the last half hour or so today, but relief we expect is on the way as TSA agents could come back to work soon, with Congress lifting this partial government shutdown, funding TSA. Those workers who had been calling out or even quitting could be paid, and more could be arriving soon. We spoke with one passenger.
Now they could be coming back, but let's be honest now. Would you want to stay in a job that think about this administration. No matter if you're for Trump or if you're against Trump, this administration is constantly having fights where it's like pissing matches. And there's going to be times where there's going to shut down again. Would you stay in a job that you're always going to be a chance that you won't get paid and you still are expected to show up? I couldn't do it. Well, let's go over into this next video. I know my internet ain't slow.
Well, in a surprise move, President Trump ordering DHS to start paying TSA workers who have not had a check in weeks now. Now TSA officials are speaking out. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist has more from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
This morning, with those TSA checkpoint lines continuing ahead of a busy spring break travel weekend,
I'm here like 5 hours early.
Hope that the overnight Senate deal and payment for TSA mean relief is coming. The limbo has left TSA officers at their wits' end, with hundreds quitting their jobs since the latest shutdown started.
We're not doing okay.
Union President Antoinette Wade, who represents TSA officers in Louisiana and Mississippi, says some are on the brink of losing everything.
We have people who are facing car repossessions. We're relying on food banks and disaster relief funds.
National TSA officer call-out rates surging above 11% for 4 consecutive days, and are even higher, around a staggering 40% in Atlanta and Houston, with security lines at those airports regularly spilling out of the terminals.
I've been in line for 2 hours, and I think I have 1.5 hours ahead still.
With back pay now in view, some TSA officers were already at a breaking point and worry about future government shutdowns.
You know, if it looks like this is going to become the norm, then we're definitely reevaluating our ability to maintain these jobs.
While the lines stretch on the ground, another scare in the skies, just days after that collision at LaGuardia Airport, which killed 2 pilots. The FAA says it's now investigating an incident at a California airport Tuesday. An Army National Guard helicopter on a training mission flying close to a United plane.
589. You got traffic at your 10 o'clock.
Flight Radar 24 shows the moment the 2 aircraft passed each other. It's just over a year since that D.C. crash when a passenger jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided, resulting in 67 deaths. Of this week's incident, United saying pilots saw the helicopter and received an alert, leveling off and landing safely.
Now, let's think about this. A lot of problems have been happening because of funding. So you could say because air traffic controllers, a lot of people are quitting or just not showing up to the job. And especially when it's air traffic controllers, they're saying that that's probably one of the main reasons the crash happened at the LaGuardia Airport, at the Air Canada, because there was only 2 air traffic controllers inside at that nighttime. But some people are saying that's the standard. But let's get over into the AI breakdown just to have little questions that the main thing I wanted to understand is, yes, they was talking about stuff going through into the Senate, but why did Trump go through and just sign an executive order? So as we know, President Trump signed an executive order to get TSA paid. during a 42-day partial government shutdown. The order aims to address an emergency situation. They said they're at the limit and the breaking point. The administration plans to use the unspent funds from the previous tax and domestic policy law, referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, to cover the back pay. They are expected to be paid on Monday, March 30th, 2026. While the executive order provides immediate relief for TSA workers, the DHS budget remains in a standoff. So as we know, early Friday morning, the Senate unanimously passed a funding package for most of DHS, but it excludes ICE and Border Protection. House Speaker Mike Johnson rejected the Senate-passed bill, calling it a joke because it did not include the immigration or the SAVE Act voting bill. House Republicans are working on an alternate short-term spending bill to fund the entire department until May 22nd, but the Senate Democrats have already indicated that the measures would be a dead on arrival. At the end of the day, it's, for me, I might be just seeing the wrong things, but it just seems like every time you're looking at both sides, they're just having, like I said before, a pissing match. I was looking at, just thinking back to the State of the Union address. They'll say the same things on different sides, looking at it from president to president. But even though they're saying the same things, the side who isn't for the president won't clap. The world sometimes seems like a joke, or at least the administration or in the government itself. But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know how you feel about the whole thing. Would you stay a TSA agent in times like these? I couldn't do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I could not do it.